Greetings, dear ones. This is Friday, October 24th, 2025, and I welcome you all. This has been quite a week, to say the least, and I know generally this year we keep saying that, but I think this one has brought some really deep, very strong, very core aspects of us as we are who we are individually as a nation and beyond a planet, species. And, um, you know, those of you who listened to these before COVID, through COVID, etc., you know that I anticipated and kind of trying to give people a heads up of the what was coming, the opportunities, quote unquote, that will give us and allow us to not just change, not just transform, not just even transmute, but to truly transfigure our identity as a nation and as humans. And certainly we're seeing that with so much of our identity or who we thought we were as a nation, who we thought, how we thought others perceived us as a nation, as a people, and watching that slowly, not slowly, very accelerated rates of just dismantling and taking apart that identity. And I have so many clients that have been experiencing that this year. Other colleagues, in many ways, I was the year before. Um, just so many aspects of our identity that are mutable or that are not permanent or that are not core aspects of who we are. And I think the symbolic representation of that this week in the issues surrounding the destruction of our house, the White House, is a huge, powerful, impactful, in our face symbol of example of that dismantlement, destruction. And it's very difficult for us to go into a level of unknownness when our what we believed, what we thought, what we had clung to falls away. When I'm working with clients one on one, we are actually doing that in a very profound and deep way, is deconstructing and uh, really just allowing the unreal parts of us, the misperceptions, the mistaken beliefs, the lies that we came to hold and cling to as part of who we are. And I know that sounds strange, but in fact we do. And when clients are working through these pieces and come to realize that, oh my gosh, no, I am not that. That is not who I feel myself deeply to be. Most people, however, don't even feel those parts. We shut them down so effectively when we were young because it was dangerous to feel into those true, real, natural, innate aspects of us. So that is a very focused process, though, when I'm working one on one with clients and they're discovering, uncovering, revealing these lies, these mistaken beliefs, because their very bodies, their energy fields, their emotional bodies, and their with the assistance of their wider selves and their guides and teachers and masters, are actually revealing that to them, not merely because I say something, because that doesn't mean anything. I can read people, but that doesn't do any good unless you actually experience it. Not in your head, because your head will fool you. That's where your defense system lives, and that's where these lies and mistaken beliefs are held and reinforced and fortified and locked in at all cost, because it's upon that basis that your defense system is protecting you, i.e., the child, and a very young child. Um, but the basis upon which it is built is obsolete. You are not in those same in that same position anymore. You're an adult, you have free will, and at the moment we have freedom in our country to be able to make the choices that we want. And that is what this is all about, is uncovering, discovering, dismantling, proving untrue all of the aspects of us that not merely I'm not a fan of the term no longer serves, but moreover, because that implies that there is something that, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me. What does work, what I have taught many years, is that it is old, it is obsolete, it is not applicable anymore, and that as we mature as an adult through the process that my clients go through, the child is no longer in there, running the show, because the child's needs and wants and missing aspects of their life is what actually is the program that we're running from on a daily basis. Not running from us and running away, but it is running through us like a computer program. So this week, so much was happening. Our, feeling like we on Saturday we had this amazing experience of, the latest count I saw was 8.1 million people, not only in our country but around the world, standing up and saying no to this old way of being, to this pattern that we've been following for thousands of years. And in all of those 8.1 million people being out in the streets, gathering together in huge crowds, some smaller crowds in smaller areas, and in cities, tens of thousands of people, and not one incident of harm or ugliness or cause for arrest or even addressing by the police. There were agitators, there were people attempting to harm or cause problems for those that were marching, but not one from 8.1 million people. That's a lot of variety. That's a lot of variance. And to me, that is truly who we are. And it wasn't just because, we were coming together and it was a very joyous affair. It was families, ages, all abilities, all everything. And that just shows us how we can be together, live together, work together, move towards something, even with the wide millions of reasons why people were there. As individual as we are, we have our own beliefs, we have our own way of perceiving things, and yet there is no reason why, which that showed, there is no reason why we cannot do this global interchange and unity within or with the diversity of individuals. To me, that was breathtakingly beautiful. I had the great good honor of being a safety marshal in I barely got a sip of water in the time that the march was going by because there was so many people and so much going on. Because people were walking on the sidewalks, not in the streets. And it was just magnificent to once again see the variety of people and as I said, the ages, the differences, etc. And I, like Spock in Star Trek, celebrate the differences. And so there is great beauty in that. There's a quote I think I've posted here from a Star Trek episode where Spock does speak about the great beauty that is in our differences. And it is true. Um, that's why we are individuals. That's why none of us look alike. Um, because we're each here doing our own thing as a soul. And yet, that also happens to combine and intertwine and dovetail with the evolution of the entire planet, the galaxy, and the universe, which I'll go into another time. But that beauty, juxtaposed with all of the apparent ugliness, the destructiveness, the hurtfulness, the deliberate attempts to harm land, people, other countries, it just is constant. And that destructiveness, the harm, the hurtfulness, yes, does appear to be ugly. It is ugly on definitely multiple levels. But at the same time, it is causing such activity, such action, such motivation, such catalysm, such triggering that it is truly beautiful because nothing short of a war would cause this depth of feeling and choice making. So, again, those of you who have listened to these or worked with me in any way before know that I teach from a perspective of mutual duality, that there is abject beauty in the dark or the destructive or that which is uncomfortable within us, the shadow, as much as there is in what we call or label as beauty. So the title for today was Walking in Beauty, which is a practice that I learned about, really felt from a very young age. Um, just realized, no accident, that I'm actually wearing a piece of jewelry. It is beaded, and on the back you can see this is made of deer hide. This is probably 50 something years old because I got it when I was very young, and it's one of the pieces that I still have from the exposure and invitation by my mother to include all perspectives, but she was very aligned with the American indigenous culture and perspective and philosophy. And we had the great good fortune of being able to attend private ceremonies that most white people didn't even know about at the time, much less had ability or permission to attend. So this is very ingrained in my being, to walk in beauty. And what that means from an indigenous perspective, American Indian, multiple tribes, is to recognize, to acknowledge, to feel for, to connect with, to realize that everything on this planet, everything, everyone is a relative. Everything, everyone has purpose. Everything, everyone is here of their own soul's choice. Everything, everyone is part of the source, the one, the creation, the creation intelligence, whatever you want to call it. And when you truly feel that, it is extremely difficult to cause harm. It is extremely difficult to not unite with and be able to listen and hear and receive um, information, communication, celebration, direction, guidance from everything around you, because it is not separate. You are not separate. We are all walking this path, this soul path, whatever one you chose, in beauty as part, not only part of the one, but with all of those different soul purposes, soul designs, soul choices, and yet at the same time, they intertwine, they dovetail. There is a mutual benefit. Um, and our disconnect from that is what is being explored right now. Our inability to feel. Because there's one thing to say, yes, they're all my relatives, and yes, I recognize that, and the person on the other side of the planet has all of the rights and needs and respect that, I should give them. But it's quite another to feel. And I've had countless clients over the years when they start the process with me, this proprietary process that was created from a wide range of disciplines, etc., as well as assistance from my ancients. We're going through the process, and they're like, I feel this, and I'm like, no, let's try again. And it's it's not a long, it's a very challenging perspective to realize that we we superficially feel, but we don't deeply feel. And that's physically, energetically, emotionally. And when my clients have gone through this process, and they they have said to me, I don't know how many times, it's like, oh my gosh, I thought you were crazy. I was so angry at you at the beginning because you would not, accept my definition or my feeling of what I thought I was feeling. And now having gone through this process, now I feel myself. Now I feel the other. Now I feel the earth. Now I feel the divine. And I get what you were saying. I get the fact that I did not feel. And that's a beautiful thing. And there's so many people that are afraid of feeling that they're going to be overwhelmed. Well, yes, as a child we were. But going through a process of dismantling and disproving these identity pieces that we cling to as children in order to survive, and still continue to do so unknowingly as adults until such time as it's revealed to us or we discover it within us. It does seem overwhelming. So all that's going on is causing a similar sensation of overwhelm so that we can be catalyzed, aggravated enough, hurt enough, scared enough to go further within and explore the roots of that, explore what that's coming from on a personal basis, so that we can then make choices on a larger basis, as a nation, as a community, as a globe, as a planet. So while this has been an extremely difficult week, I also am aware that we feel more so powerless and incapable and overwhelmed and helpless, hopeless when we do not do something. And there is so much to do. Juxtaposed to that, this week, there was the absolute beauty of people standing up and not allowing neighbors to be taken away. And that's been going on, of course. But it's becoming more prevalent and more accepted, let's call it. I have closer friends in my area that spent a great deal of money taking advantage of our local department store, Boscov's, buying cartloads of warm clothing and items for people that do not have the facility to do so. There are people coming together to gather food in a way that we probably haven't even seen before. And this is those are just two examples of the beauty of who we are. People standing up and saying, no, you cannot treat animals this way. I posted something about a beautiful wildlife rescue center that I support up in northern New Jersey, as well as the one locally here. And it is, a fox that was just so harmed and been hit by a car, had horrible gashes. It was on death's door, and these people worked with and helped this fox recover and then released it back into the wild again. And it is an all volunteer rescue, wildlife rescue. These people absolutely dedicate their time, their energy, their knowledge, their medical ability, their tenderness, their care, physical care of these animals. And so I encourage you, I'm going to post again, but there are so many ways to get involved. I heard yesterday, I think it was Dr. Heather Cox Richardson mentioning that there are 52,000, let me repeat that, 52,000 elections going on at the beginning of November. That means everything from school boards to local boards or councils or township, however your township is structured, county, state. We here in New Jersey, and sorry, I failed to remember what other state are electing a governor. There are propositions on the ballot, and that is an extremely easy, rapid way to let your voice be heard, to make your choice be known, how you want this world to be. And it does take some effort. You need to find out about the bills that are on the ballot. You need to find out about the candidates and what they support and what they've said, and not just take someone's word for it on Facebook or even, some news media source, but actually do some research. It's all public at this point. It's still all public knowledge, and it doesn't take that much, especially with Google and AI at this point. So that's a very easy way to get involved. There are indivisible organizations around the country. This is entirely grassroots. There is no central group of people running this. This is all local. Our local Cooper River Indivisible group here has, I think at this point, probably 15 or more, 15 plus different committees. If you have children in school and you are worried about where our education system is headed, or the curriculum, or the books that can and cannot be in your local libraries, that's one committee. There are people on the environmental committee. They're doing cleanup in our area and planting trees and bushes and tending to areas that are still, wild. There's everything, anything that you care about, anything that you feel strongly about. There is a way to take action. Create your own community group, doing gardens, sharing the food that comes from a vegetable garden. There are countless ways. This whole evolutionary process is about you finding you, following you internally, and um, being able to express that or physicalize it in some way. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to have to actually put this on pause. There is some sort of official in my yard. Excuse me.